Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another episode of Super Subs Podcast, hosted by Harish and Narv. This one is gonna be one for the ages. We just came off the Inter Barca semis yesterday, which just an insane game, possibly the game of the Champions League game of all time. And then today, Arsenal, PSG. Um, Another climatic game. So a lot to dig into. Today we won't go through kind of awarding our super subs of the week.
I think we got a unanimous one.
I think we do have a unanimous one. Maybe we can give him a shout out.
And
Are we
3, 2,
2,
1.
1 for
Fratesi.
Daisy?
Yes.
Yes. All right. Well, Narv, I'll let you. Well, first, before we talk about him, we can get into that game. Just want to replay something from one of our old podcasts. Let me know if you can hear this, okay?
Mhm.
I'm gonna say PSG. My reasoning is I think Barca would be an easy answer, but I feel like they've gotten a little lucky this Champions League, and a better team is gonna expose them. But PSG, yeah, they're in the middle of the table, but I think that they're better than they have showed, and also just like with the league, they're kind of running away with it, and then just the depth they have too.
That's a good pick. I think PSG kind of struggled early in the Champions League too, versus later. Yeah, but I think I'll have to say either Inter Milan or Atalanta. I've been a huge fan of Atalanta this year, but Inter Milan too. I think they're a team that no one's gonna want to face. I think
for sure.
I think they got one of the best managers in this Champions League.
Oh yeah, and even I would say like front to back, like they have some very like solid players. Like that back line is like it might be one of the best in the world right now.
Yeah,
or Bastoni and Diverge.
Mm-hmm. And then
in the wing back pairing.
Oh yeah, that's crazy too. And that man Lautaro Martinez.
But so I'll pause it there. That was kind of our predictions. Hopefully you were able to hear that, but that was our prediction months ago. When it was, I think, the 7th game week of the group stages, and we had some rapid fire questions going on. One of them Narvin had asked was, who do you think will win the Champions League? And what do you know? I think we called this, nailed it on the head. Barca talked about how there hasn't been a team that's really exposed them. They haven't come up against a team like that, and I think Inter was one that they probably could have grabbed a lot more goals against that high line, but they were finally a team that could expose them. I think a few other teams have done it, but we talked about PSG as well, just especially with Variasquela. I think he's elevated that team. And then you've talked about this for a couple years now, about Inzaghi being potentially the best manager in the world, and what he's done with this Inter squad is incredible. Just a band of misfits. People would think these are all washed players.
Some
and what he's done.
grandpas
Oh
on
yeah.
there.
But I think these were definitely a lot of people probably would have picked these teams when we had talked about them. They were kind of on the outskirts, but it's incredible to see these two in the finals. But let's jump into the.
Sorry to cut you off right before we jump in, but it is wild because if you can recall, like PSG, they barely made it in.
Oh yeah,
it was like a must-win. The last group phase was like almost a must-win from, right?
Yeah, if they had lost that game, they would have been eliminated. But like, it's crazy just to think about how, yeah, to your point, the very first game of the tournament. Do you remember that game against Girona? So we talked about it on the
Who do
pod.
they play?
They played Girona, and they barely won. They won 1-0. Gazaniga, they only scored because Gazaniga had a howler.
Who did they get matched up against? Very first game.
It was against Girona.
Oh, no, I don't remember that.
Yeah, where Gazaniga had a ton of he had one howler,
Mhm.
but Van de Beek was having like a great game. But if they had lost if they had lost that City
Oh, that
game as
was
well, where they scored 4 goals in the last 30 minutes, like unanswered. Yeah, to your point, they would have never even made the knockout stages.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, they were a team. As the competition went on, they got better.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, also before jumping in, I think this week, especially the Inter game, just shows why, in my opinion, and I'm sure you can agree, why this is truly the best sport out there. Nothing beats the true emotions and just roller coasters throughout a game. I feel like no sport can match it.
Oh yeah, just all the storylines as well. Thinking about like
Crazy
who
story. Yeah.
scored.
Mm-hmm.
Um, dude, crazy idea here, but if movie theaters like AMC, Regal trying to stay in business, make some money, an idea. Y'all need to start filming these, having some watch parties at your theaters, because this is the best show on TV. Honestly,
Yeah, no
this is
joke.
the
Is
best show.
for real. Yeah, pure entertainment. Like, I guess we can jump right into the Inter Barca game, which was Tuesday.
Mhm.
But man, I could have watched like another full 90 minutes of that game. That was pure entertainment.
Yeah, I think Del Piero described it best post game when he was talking about how this game felt like he just didn't want it to end and just wanted to keep watching, exactly like you're explaining. And it reminded him of when he was like a kid playing in the streets, like, when we would just play for hours and hours until like it was dark, no lights, or we had to go home, or usually if it hit like 8 o'clock, we had to be home because it was dinner time. Like, that's what it felt like. You just wanted to keep playing until it was dark outside.
Oh yeah, exactly. Um, where do you want to start with this game? I feel like there's a lot.
Yeah.
This one had a lot of talking points, so I'll let you decide where you want to start.
Yeah, I think I was just trying to organize my thoughts on how we want to talk about it, but maybe we can just go through segments of the game in order, and then you can stop me wherever. But I think it just started with, Inter. They went up 2-0. I forget who scored the first one. Lautaro Martinez. He was questionable coming into it. Uh, Scored the finish was easy, but I think the run he made was brilliant from deep. And you could see how big of an impact he was, because he was a factor in both goals, both of their first goals, scoring the first one. Second one, he got fouled in the box. Everyone, I think, thought it was a clean tackle at first, but
Mhm.
kind of went right through him. But he drew that foul. Çalhanoğlu ended up capitalizing. So it's 2-0, same as the first leg. And at that point, did you feel like it was kind of done and dusted, like Inter's had to have learned their lesson from the first leg?
Um, no, I thought just from how I thought Inzaghi and Inter, like, they would have learned their lesson, but it's just I feel like Barca, even in La Liga, um their mentality is wild. Like, they could go down how many ever goals, but it takes just one goal for them to wake up. So I thought it was basically, and they always say 2-0 is one of the most dangerous leads. So one goal for Barca, and they would have been right back in it. So it wasn't until like I thought Inter had to grab the third for them to just feel reassured.
Yeah, I think especially I don't know though, going into halftime, it just felt to your point, it would be really foolish to write off this Barca team. But it felt like it was kind of a dagger scoring that second goal right before halftime, especially in that first half. The momentum was all with Inter. They were completely outplaying them.
It was one-sided. Yeah.
Very one-sided. So I was a little worried for Barca, I'm not gonna lie, going into half because I thought Inter would have felt very comfortable going into halftime.
Yeah. To your point though, of how you mentioned Inter, it was like so one-sided that first half. I did have a worry because I thought there's no way Barca could get like completely dominated again for a whole nother 45. 'Cause I think like literally the only player that was doing anything for Barca that first half was the 17-year-old Lamine. So like even Pedri looked way off of it.
Yeah, Pedri didn't look good. He looked pretty frustrated too. After that penalty call with the referee, he's had some words since the game. But to your point, Barcelona second half, I think they started off with the front foot. It was just like Inter could not breathe. Like they were trying to play it out the back, and just Barca were just like domestic abuse, dude. It was like they were
Mhm.
choking them, dude. It was like they couldn't breathe. But
Humble abusive.
abusive. Um, I think one player that stuck out to me, especially in that second half, that kind of changed the energy was he went really under the radar, but Danny Olmo, he was just running all over the field in that first 10 minutes and like winning like the second chances, and I thought he was a huge impact in that kind of 10 minutes spell. But once Eric Garcia got that goal, absolute banger too. It was like here we go again.
And I think that's what really woke him up was like another banger. Like that first leg, like I feel like because of how quality of the goal Lamine Yamal scored, like that was a banger. So like it was like got them hype and like really woke them up. I feel like that was the same case. Like this was such a banger, like literally just woke up a sleeping giant.
Yeah, and props to I mean that finish, yeah, like you said, was incredible. But props to him, uh, because we've seen how good Kunde's been, especially his relationship with Lamine. They kind of like really know how to play with each other. Um, but I mean, also on the other side, props to Gerard Martin because he's definitely struggled, and Balde is definitely like better, like on another level slightly. I mean, Martin's still super young too, but um, I thought he was a huge improvement from the first leg.
Uh, he had a good game. I'll give him that.
Oh
Um,
yeah,
but yeah, I think Balde's like a would be a huge upgrade.
yeah. I think especially that relationship between Balde and Rafinha too. The way
Well,
they,
yeah. After you finish summarizing this match, let's also go position by position on some people because there
mm,
are some that we might need to talk about.
but yeah, I mean, Gerard Martin got that assist. It was a great cross, and even like defensively, Inter. I mean, Inter. They've done such a great job exposing that Barca high line at times. They should have done it more. Like there were times where Tarum especially would hold the ball like a second too long um, with runners, but uh, 5 minutes later, Danny Olmo. gets a header and it's 2-2, and you're thinking, uh-oh, here we go. But I mean, another player that needs a huge shout out. So that was with 30 minutes left, 2-2. And you're thinking, this is Barca's game to lose, right? They were just, you could feel the momentum from the first half, which is all Inter. Second half had shifted to all Barca. But one player kept them in the whole game. That even that first leg, we gave him a really quiet shout out, but you texted me. You said Jan Mother. I'm not gonna say it. Summer, because that dude was, oh my god, some of the saves he was making, just
Wild.
unreal. I know you're not a huge fan of some of these advanced stats, but if you look at the XG that he prevented in that game, it was over 1.5. Insane.
Yeah, that one save, the one where Eric Garcia could have had his second, and he literally like crawled back and saved it, pounced on it. That was like literally a carbon copy of Iker Casillas, young Iker Casillas versus Sevilla. Like it literally reminded me just like that. I was like, "Whoa, that is wild."
El Gato. It was like a cat. Like the way he
For
pounced
real.
on that. That was, whew.
And you know what
But
the
I
wild
thought,
part is?
mhm.
Not trying to always bring up United, but Inter got rid of Onana to United, 55 mil. They got Jan Sommer for 5 mil. Crazy business.
Well, that's the thing about Inter and Inzaghi. Like the way they've recruited this team, like
Mhm.
it's insane. Like I can't think of, like, the room was I think was he free
Yeah,
transfer?
I didn't realize he was a free transfer until I looked it up. Yeah.
Yeah, he was a free transfer. Um, you mentioned Jan Sommer. Who else? Uh, I mean, Fratezi's had some big moments. I feel like he's been pretty cheap. I mean, Mkhitaryan, he stars in every single game. Um, Çalhanoğlu, like he was once a big name player, and he's completely transformed into a CDM. Um, who else? I mean, Barella, like, but even Barella, like he was a big name, but like I don't think he was ridiculously expensive or like they overpaid for him.
Mm-mm. No. I think, honestly, Fratesi might have been one of their bigger spenders, like in recent time.
Ah, I thought they got him for the low. Okay, I might be wrong there.
I think they still got him for the low, but like compared to the other, like
Yeah.
he's a little more on the upside, I think. I'll have to look
Uh,
into it, but I know their business is like wild.
yeah, and the players they were able to kind of offload. But yeah, Jan Sommer was just keeping them in the game, and then uh, we saw Inter make some changes, and going into the last 10 minutes, I was really worried for Inter because I was like, man, they're like, I don't know why it feels like a Cinderella run in my eyes because it shouldn't be. They finished top 4 in the group stages of the Champions League, so I don't think it should. But I don't know why it just feels like a Cinderella story for me. But I was like, oh man, it's about to come to an end. Because Inter, man, they're an old squad here. So Barca were just on them, and Rafinha, he got that goal, very well taken. But honestly, he was a ghost all game. What did you think about his performance?
He was, I thought, non-existent. Um, I thought he had a really disappointing game, and I think for the Ballon d'Or shouts he's been getting, like this is, I think, a type of game where you can see this is exactly the type of game where it's like he gets a GA, but I mean his overall performance was, I think he was one of the worst on the field. Um,
Oh, completely agree. He was non-existent.
but he just gets that GA, which kind of inflates his statistics, which gets used for the Ballon d'Or shouts. But yeah, if you want to say like if you want to be in contention for best player like in the world, like that's not a type of performance you want to see.
No, yeah, I mean you make a great point because Pedri had a slow first half, but second half he was integral to a lot of their build-up, and Lamine as well. And I don't think either of them were on got an assist this game. So yeah, to your point, like both those guys, and we've been speaking about it all year, like two of their most important players, but everyone's like Rafinha because he gets these crazy. I mean, you have to be good to put up the numbers he has, but like it doesn't necessarily mean that you're the best player on the team.
Exactly. Yeah. Because that first half, especially that first half, it was literally like it almost felt like a one on one, like when you play one on one like basketball. Like they were just whenever Barca got possession, they would just send it straight to Lamine Yamal and like just relied on him to pull something off. Even the second half, I thought Lamine Yamal was cooking, but to your point, like he was pulling out some worldies.
And I will say, props to the ref because I mean we don't have to spend too much time on the ref, but like DeMarco, he had in the first half, he had 3 fouls pretty quick, and a couple times Lamine was theatrical, but like he really didn't cave into the Barca pressure. Like Flick on the sideline touchline was going berserk, and like
Yeah.
Pedri was like, "We need a yellow," but like, I feel like if DeMarco had gotten a yellow within that first 30 minutes, because he committed 3 quick fouls that were pretty blatant, I think it could have completely changed the way he played.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I was actually a little surprised he didn't get a yellow because, to your point, he committed several fouls quite early that first half. Um, but yeah, I think it would have kind of changed the game if he had been. Yeah, I was surprised to kind of look back right now. I'm looking at it. He didn't even receive a yellow through the game.
No, he didn't. Yeah. So I don't know if that's like props to the ref because I wouldn't want it. It would have been too easy for Lamine to, DeMarco playing on the line there, but um, I thought DeMarco held up slightly better, but still, it's just and it speaks to Lamine volumes because like he was getting double teamed, triple teamed, and
Yeah,
still able to make things happen.
Mkhitaryan had to do a lot of defensive shifts. Um, but yeah, to your point, I thought the ref had a good game. I feel like it's always a good sign when you don't talk about the ref like after the game. That just shows they had a good game. Like I thought he played it fair both ways. He kind of definitely let this game have a little more physical side to it.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, just finishing up kind of the game. So Rafinha scored that third goal, 3-2 with 3 minutes left and plus stoppage time, and then just insane. Inter just they don't look like they're gonna create a chance at all. You're thinking, this is over. And actually, like I forgot it until afterwards, looking back. But Lamine Yamal hit the post, and then literally 30 seconds later, Inter go up the pitch, and a very unthinkable man ends up getting the game tying goal. Acerbi gets the tying goal in the 93rd minute. Just shirts off, insane scenes.
Yeah, you had to have the volume up on that one because just it was just like I can't imagine being there live. Just watching it through the television like gives you chills. And that's Acerbi's like first ever European goal.
In 20 plus
And
years.
crazy time to get it. And I didn't look back at it, but like I was like, how did he even get up so high up the pitch? Cause yeah, like literally just 30 seconds ago, Lamine Yamal was on the other end hitting the post. So like, how did he get up there? Out of all people.
And I thought it was I didn't think it was him that ended up scoring. I thought it was Taremi, like a big body like Taremi, because it was a quality finish. Like it wasn't like a simple just tap in. And then
Top
when I saw
corner.
it was, yeah, and I was a Cherby, I was like, what? Freaking center back? Like this man has never scored in a European competition. But and then just thinking about like his backstory too, like overcoming testicular cancer twice, and then like going from that to now he's on like the biggest stage scoring a goal is just insane. Um, so that was in the 93rd minute, and then going into extra time, kind of what were you feeling? Did you feel like this is going to go to PKs? Teams would just feel each other out, or did you think one team had the edge over the other?
I thought in terms of the legs, I was a little worried for Inter because obviously they are a bit older. Um, but I thought Inzaghi was smart in bringing in Darmian, Fratesi, and Zelensky, taking out. Um, I think taking out Chalanagu and Mkhitaryan were good just because they needed the legs in the midfield at that point. So having kind of fresher legs, extra time was good, but still kind of the older team. I thought, uh, I don't know, like an extra 30 minutes, like Barca might have the upper hand. So Inter might just, they're so defensive, like a good defensive team, they might hold on for the PKs, but I was happy that they went for it.
Yeah, Fratesi, I mean, shout out to him as a super sub because that midfield, he had a good what, like 20 minutes
Mm-hmm.
in regular time, and I thought that was a really good 20 minutes of showing by him.
Yeah, he he's a really techie player. Like he doesn't really have the pace or skills, but technicality wise, like very good.
Yeah, he's very clean, almost like a Thomas Mueller. Like he
Yeah,
doesn't have the best attributes in anything, but
exactly. Mm-hmm.
and then yeah, to your point too, I going into extra time, I thought there's no way Barca don't come away with this, right? Like exactly to your points. Even Barella, I thought Barella was gonna like break his legs. That man could barely
Mm-hmm.
like walk around. He was like limping, and I was like, man, someone needs to get him a cane. But that's why I thought. But I guess also Inter just got. It seemed like after that goal, they just got that second wind energy. The crowd was
Adrenaline.
on adrenaline. Like they could just play through the pain. And then 9 minutes into stoppage time, that man Fratesi gets a goal. Nice assist by uh,
Turam.
Thuram. Well, I think no, Thuram passed it to
Oh, that's right.
Taremi, right? But it was a
Yeah.
good like link up though between the three
Uh-huh.
of them.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that yeah, and then the celebrations, that was all goosebumps. I was like, geez. That's the best part about Italians. Because we growing up, fans, like I think we mentioned in one of our first podcasts, but growing up we watched Serie A. That's what we grew up watching before getting into United and Chelsea. That's another reason I kind of like Inter. That was one of the Italian teams we watched a lot. Um, but yeah, Italian fans, their like passion levels are like a different level. So that goal was like pure goosebumps.
And him trying to climb like the cage and the
Yeah.
fence.
And then crazy part is also like just to chill because like his grandma had passed away, remember, right before the Bayern Munich game the night before.
Yeah.
And the next day he scored the winner in that first leg and then gets another winner here. So yeah, for Tazy, he's been coming up big for Inter.
And then I think after that, Inter were definitely defending really well. I thought again Inzaghi, another brilliant save with or save sub taking out Dumfries, who that man He had a great 2 legs.
5 GAs, crazy.
Insane. And especially in Inzaghi's system, like the wingbacks are so important. But I thought that was a good sub to bring on Stefan de Verge to kind of clean up, and it just didn't really give Barca uh, that much space to kind of create. It was all kind of clogged up.
Hey, if Fertezi didn't get the winner and it was like some player that was already starting, honestly, De Vrij could have been a super sub because he made some crucial tackles. I think there was one where he got injured a bit because I forget who tried to get the shot off, but he like stepped in front. I think it was Araujo.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, he was making some crucial blocks, some crazy tackles.
Even, I mean, night and day between the 2 subs, right? Like Inter, we talked about Fertezi, Taremi, Diverge, but even Darmian came in, came in the 70th minute, and I thought he defended really well. Bisek, he had a pretty good 2 legs too, but Darmian came in, did his job.
Bissek looks a little. He's got to develop a little bit more on his ball playing ability. He's a little. I don't know if it's because he's so tall. He just looks a bit awkward. So tall and big, like he just looks a little awkward and like a little off step at times.
Yeah, he looks like he panics when he gets the ball.
Yeah, I think the one player Inter must have for the final, I think that will elevate it further, is getting Benjamin Pavard back.
Ooh.
I think they'll need him. But you want to go position by position, or you want to call out some players who I think had some disappointing games?
Oh, I mean, let's finish up with the subs real quick because what did
Yeah.
you think of the Barca subs? We talked about Inter subs, but do you think Barca subs, anyone stick out to you as good?
Yeah. Sorry, I thought all the Barca subs were pretty poor.
Yeah.
I mean, they were the right decisions, I think, but it just hurt them quite a bit.
I don't know if the Lewandowski one was a great decision because that man's been hurt for a while, and I was like, man, because he had. I remember the one chance he had where I was like, dude, you should have finished that. He just he looked really off, and I feel like as a coach, you wouldn't. You've seen him in practice and training and stuff. Like, why not keep Ferran Torres in? I thought that was the wrong decision.
Yeah, I don't know if Torres could have gotten to the header though.
Yeah.
But I think the reason he made that sub was just from what I saw was like because like him and Lewandowski were like kind of like smiling and hugging before Lewandowski came on. So I was like, oh, they're just bringing him because this is like 90th minute he came on. So I was like, oh, they're just bringing him to get the ball up the pitch and kind of hold it in the corner flag. Just waste of time. That was like my thinking of why he brought him on, which I guess is smart. I mean, Lewandowski, big body, hold up the ball. But I think, and not
Yeah, that is
not
true because they weren't like chasing a goal when he came on. That is true. Yeah.
And then Inigo Martinez, he was on a yellow, so just to shirt up. But I think he was a big. If he didn't have a yellow, he didn't need to be subbed off. He was a big loss because Araujo he got cooked, especially in that extra time.
Dude, he was getting bullied by Tram.
Yeah.
Like it was poor.
Yeah, he looked really off of it. Turam, he's one player to want to give props to. I thought that was elite striker play he had throughout the game. And to the Araujo point, I mean, that fourth goal where he passed it to Taremi for the pre-assist, like put Araujo on a spin cycle, like that's after playing 90 plus minutes and Araujo being basically fresh off the bench. Like that man was putting in work, holding up the ball. Yeah, he had some off-field allegations. Didn't seem to affect him. But I thought that was just elite. He had an elite game.
Yeah, to your point, like even in stoppage time, I remember the one tackle where I think it was Arujo and De Jong were trying to get the ball off of him, and he was just botting them, and like De Jong, I think just went cleanly through him, and he ended up getting a yellow. But like the ability to have that strength that late into the game when you've played the whole time is just insane. But yeah, to your point, Martinez, I thought he was the only one that was able to. I mean, honestly, he's been an underrated defender this year. I know everyone kind of likes to talk about Kubarsi, who I think at times gets saved by Martinez. Martinez doesn't necessarily have the pace, but I think he's definitely really smart the way he plays. Like able to read the game. But yeah, to your point, he was a huge loss when he had to leave.
It had to be because of the yellow, though.
Yeah, only
Right.
reason. Yeah.
Um,
And I guess like they knew like they were kind of on the front foot, and so they knew Arujo could come in, and they didn't have to worry too much defensively, I guess.
yeah.
But yeah, I didn't think Fermin Lopez was one that I was thinking could make an impact when he came on, but he kind of just walked around the game, didn't really have an impact.
Yeah, him and Gavi. It's kind of like just cardio session almost for him.
Mm-hmm.
That was Gavi and I don't see the hype around this kid like where everyone's like, oh, he's a penciled in starter for Spain if he's fully fit. Like I don't see that. Um, and then the other subs like that Hector Fort dude. He had some selfish plays. I'm not gonna lie.
He was pissing me off, dude. His decision
Yeah.
making.
He had what Lamine Yamal like wide open for a ball and he just skies it. I was like, yo, what are you? Who do you think you are, man?
Yeah, he was pissing me off. But I mean, let's talk about. It sounds like you're itching to talk about some performance, call out some players. Who do you want to call out? Either good or poor performance.
Yeah, so I think we touched on it, but Rafinha, don't let his rating fool you. Bad performance, like you mentioned, complete ghost. Um, and then Ronald Araujo. I don't want to see the links to United anymore. Sorry, man. Uh,
Yeah,
you had a really bad game.
poor. I think someone else too that I thought had a poor game, especially to his standards. I thought De Jong was one of the worst players on the field for Barca.
Really?
Honestly, he caused in that first half. He was misplacing passes. He was the sole reason they gave up the penalty. Um, the way he lost the ball. Maybe it was the first or second goal, but he was the one that to lose the ball. Like that man, check your shoulder. Come on, like simple. Like he was pathetic all game. But especially that first half, misplacing passes.
Mm-hmm.
Um, he has to really be disappointed. And I feel really bad for him because he's been having a good year with Pedri this year, that partnership, but he really let the team down, in my opinion. I think aside from Rafinha, he was the worst player on the field. And he's probably like heartbroken too because this game reminded me of that Ajax game where they lost to Spurs, heartbreak.
Mm.
And De Jong was on that pitch, so like he's probably having like mad flashbacks.
Yeah, that deja vu.
Yeah.
Um, and as great as Inter played, I think we talked on Besic a little bit. But one player who I want to criticize just a little bit, because as of a grade of a player he is, I think he didn't have his best game, was Barella. I didn't think he played like his best. There were some instances like similar to De Jong where he put his team in vulnerable situations, trying to do too much, losing the possession. Like I think there was one where it was almost, I forget what instance, but I think Rafinha kind of picked his pocket, threw on goal right away. Um, just misplacing passes at times. I think defensively he was solid, but going forward he was struggling. But it is a positive sign for Inter that even with Barella not at his best, they were still able to pull this type of result.
Yeah, from the Inter side, I couldn't really think of anyone that I thought Barella. I didn't think he had a poor game necessarily, but I don't think he played at his level or his standard.
Yeah.
Whereas De Jong, I think he had a poor game. I thought Bastoni was a little poor as well. I don't know if that goes to him having a poor game or if it's just Lamine Yamal is just like that good.
I think it's Lamine. Because Bastoni did make some critical challenges. That one slide tackle he had on Lamine was wild. Or if he mistimed it, it could have been a PK. And then Bastoni, I thought he was doing really well getting up the field, relieving the pressure. And that's one thing. It's just a little small thing. Lamine Yamal will learn as he kind of grows, but like he's kind of like defensively. Yeah, he's not known for his defensive abilities, but like like a dog or a cat when you have a toy and you just kind of like they just follow the toy. That's like what Lamine Yamal feels like defensively. Like he just follows the ball, so it's like the way Bastoni was able to get up the pitch, just playing around Lamine Yamal to relieve the pressure. I thought he did good in that aspect, but yeah, defensively, I think Lamine was causing some troubles for him also.
And who would you give your man of the match hat to?
I really want to give it to Thuram, but I think because of the saves, like it has to be Summer.
Oh yeah, completely agree there. Just unbelievable performance, both legs.
Hey, I shit on keepers, but when credit's due, I'll hold my hands up and I'll give you all credit, man. That was unreal. That was an unreal. I mean, that was a great performance by Inter all around, but like goalkeeping wise, that's one of the like craziest goalkeeping performances also.
But all right, speaking of goalkeeping performance, we have to move to today's game. I think we've touched on this one in this game enough, so
I could go on more, man.
Yeah. Arsenal PSG. I think another great goalkeeping performance today. Donnarumma. We'll talk about it the same way. We'll go through. I think that first 10 minutes, I was kind of shocked. Well, not really. Arsenal had to kind of push for it, but they were really all over PSG that first 10 minutes. And it felt almost like that Barca, that first 10 minutes of the second half. But it was really unfortunate Arsenal couldn't grab a goal. But I mean, it's also hats off to fair play Donnarumma. Like the saves he was making was absolutely insane.
Well, he had that one crazy save on Odegaard.
Yeah, the two I remember is that one and the Martinelli one where he had to get down pretty quick.
Yes. I think Arsenal, yeah, like you mentioned, they needed a goal, obviously, to keep the tie alive. But I think the reason they started off the game like so quick on the front foot was like, I think they were trying to score really early because they knew PSG would be knocking at the door and score at some point. So They need a early goal just to give them insurance to kind of go for a second.
Mm.
I think that's my feeling.
Yeah, and I think the best matchup too was that Martinelli Hakimi matchup. I mean, we know Hakimi's top level right back, but I don't know. I thought Martinelli was giving him some trouble with that first opening half.
Yeah, I think so. He got behind. But then again, I don't know. I feel like that's just because Hakimi's positioning at times, like he's so attack minded. He can get caught out at times. But yeah, that was a pretty good
Mhm.
battle. What'd you think of? Or I guess we'll continue on kind of summarizing the game.
Yeah, I think it was just Arsenal chance after chance. And again, interrupt me whenever you see fit. But I think the first real chance that PSG had was maybe 25 minutes in, uh, where Variascala had the absolute banger, or maybe it was like 20 minutes in, and it hit the post.
That's right.
I think that was like really the first real chance that they had.
Off
And
a
then,
counter, right?
yeah,
Okay.
exactly.
Yeah.
But then after that, I think that's what woke up PSG, because before then it was just they were just sitting back. But
They couldn't even get out their own half.
oh no, um, but I think that gave them some like encouragement, because you could feel it with their front three. Desiree Doué had a really good chance, which I thought it was kind of a poor finish, kind of right at Raya. Um, but then that man Barcola, he also had a chance. And again, I think it just goes to his confidence. He didn't look too confident going into it, but uh, and then 27 minutes in, Fabian Ruiz just scores an absolute banger, which I think was probably unsavable.
Too clean. That
In
was so clean. Um, and he's one that goes under the radar a little bit for PSG just because of how well and much of a standout Neves and Batinha are. But I mean, there's a quality player in there in Ruiz as well, but he just goes under the radar a bit.
Mhm. But throughout that patch, like where our PSG were starting to come back, what do you think of Saliba's and Lewis Skelly's performance? I guess throughout the game, but also in that stretch, because they were giving the ball away. I felt pretty cheaply.
Yeah, Saliba almost cost him a goal with a cheap giveaway. I don't remember the Lewis Skelly instance, but Saliba for sure. And that's a few times now this year where he's, I feel like, lost concentration a bit, or not even maybe just like,
Just mistakes,
yeah, mistakes creeping into his game a little bit.
which
Even
isn't
like
good.
versus Madrid, that mistake he had for the Vinny goal. Um,
Yeah, that's not good too. Like considering that some people argue that like he's the best center back and stuff like that, and like I still think it's Van Dyke, but um, like he's not one to make those types of errors.
yeah, he's one of those like people say is like the term like Rolls Royce type defender. So yeah, he's not good, not a good sign. Still a top quality center back, but it's just we've seen it a lot, especially these like big moment matches where he's given some cheap giveaways.
Hmm. And then the rest of the first half, after PSG scored, I don't really remember any other like clear cut chances. Do you?
No, and I feel like PSG were kind of in control after the goal. It almost felt like Arsenal were like deflated,
Yeah,
because now they were needed 2 goals to tie um, tie the leg.
yeah. There was Barcola where he had I don't know if it was before or after, where Declan Rice had that crazy slide tackle on Barcola. and Raya kind of was able to save it for a corner, but Arsenal just looked deflated going into half.
Yeah, I think the halftime was much needed for Arsenal because I think any more time and they could have conceded another.
And I think you described it perfectly. They were just deflated. Even after halftime, though, like the first 20 minutes of that second half, I'm not gonna lie, was pretty not bored. Yeah, it was boring, but I think it just goes to PSG's midfield. Um, that man, João Neves, dude, you've opened my eyes to a new world with that kid because he's unbelievable. Just winning the ball, disrupting play constantly, but then like he defensively he's fantastic, but like he can also get it done like going forward. Some of the passes he makes doesn't really lose the ball too much, but honestly that first 20-25 minutes was pretty boring. And I think it's just because PSG can control the game.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they're kind of in cruise control.
But that's what separates, I think, them and Barca for me. They both can score 2-3 goals anytime. It's like a given. But I think PSG have more control to their game.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I would agree with that. I think they're more balanced.
Balance.
Yeah.
And then that man Donnarumma again, I think it was the next key event where he had that crazy save on Saka. Saka's like, what the heck?
Oh, it was looking like it was going up for 90.
Yeah.
Yeah. I will say Saka, he almost has like the Lamine Yamal vibes, especially this game where it looked like if Arsenal were gonna get a goal, it was gonna come through only one man and one man only. And it looked like they were just kind of relying on Saka to just make something happen.
Oh yeah, exactly. Right after that, Saka had another claim to a penalty. I never saw the Did you see the replay?
They didn't show it.
Yeah, but there was a pretty like big shout from him for a penalty, and then Hakimi goes down the line, and then they keep playing, and someone goes. I think João Neves goes down after like a header. He falls on his back, and then they VAR for penalty. And I was thinking, oh, the Saka challenge, but it was Lewis Skelly with the handball.
Yeah, I thought that was a PK though, the Lewis Skelly one. It looked like a unnatural. Yeah.
But I was like, I was like, oh, they're going to look back at the Saka challenge.
Oh yeah, that's what I thought too. Yeah, I didn't even like in real time. You didn't notice the Lewis Skelly handball.
But honestly, that was just a trash penalty. Vitinha.
Such a slow run up too, where you're like Pogba-esque, like taking 2 minutes for a PK. I was like, I thought he was gonna bury it because Raya historically, just based on the shootout versus us at least, like he thought it was mega early. So I was like, oh, it's gonna be a cash money, but yeah, that was a crappy PK.
Oh yeah. But Arsenal really did their homework because Vitinha, he hasn't missed a penalty for PSG, and that's like his run up
In his career
at PSG. Yeah, just at PSG.
Oh, no way.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think he's like 6 for 6, but now he's missed one.
He's their designated. Or would
I don't
it
know
have been Dembele if he would have been on?
I think it would have been Dembele.
Gotcha. Okay.
But he Raya really, I mean, did his homework. I think Arsenal too with the long throw-ins did their homework in terms of like PSG, they gave up a long throw-in goal and it looked dangerous every time they had a long throw-in. Which is really goofy. Like that's the most dangerous play you can create.
Yeah, I was gonna say that's how you got to win. Who's that joker's name? Nicola Jover, bro.
Yeah.
You're jokes, man. Sorry. Also, you seen the first leg? I forget where I saw it, but like the last kick of the game was like an Arsenal set piece, and the camera like panned onto the coaching staff, and Nikola Jover was like getting up to say his piece, and Arteta like told him sit down.
Oh no, he was clip farming.
Yeah.
uh, no, I missed that, but yeah, after the penalty though, I thought Arsenal this would be like, oh, this is what's gonna get Arsenal back into it, because the only chance they created that half was Saka. But 20 minutes left, you're thinking, Arsenal, they're gonna grab one here, like this is the momentum shifter. But Dembele comes on and gets an assist, nice link up, and Hakimi, that was a nice finish,
That was a
man.
striker's finish.
Oh
That
yeah.
was-
You could see as soon as he wrapped his foot, he like started running towards the touchline. As soon as he knew he hit that.
It's one of those like when you play basketball, like when you know the release is nice, it's just like
Oh yeah, perfect.
yeah.
But did you think once, because shortly after, it was like 5 minutes after Saka scored, and it was a pretty dirty, not dirty, but like nasty, like just get it in there.
Yeah, I was ready to clown Arsenal for no goals, but then obviously it had to get a scrappy, like ugly Marquinhos, man. Uh, actually, no. Let me not be too harsh on Marquinhos. I feel like it's
No,
because
you have to be harsh on that man. He got bodied.
no, but like on the PSG's exits, like in prior Champions Leagues, like I feel like having a partnership with Kempepe doesn't really help. But yeah,
Mhm.
that goal was on him today. How you get
Yeah.
bodied by Trossard, man?
And then, did you have any like, Arsenal?
No, not at all.
Really? Okay, I was getting a little nervous. Um, I don't know why. I was getting flashbacks of Barca. I was like, Um, and then,
When you got Moreno as a striker, uh,
yeah, true. They didn't have MSN here.
yeah,
Um, but then, literally 5 minutes after that, Saka misses a tap in, which I feel like it came at him pretty quick, and I think Donnarumma kind of threw him off a little, even though
Mhm.
Donnarumma didn't touch it.
yeah. I think he was probably expecting like a little deflection or something.
Yeah. And I think
Yeah,
after
and
that, I don't really remember any other chances Arsenal created after that.
then um, I will say though, I guess if we want to touch on players, um, all I was hearing, we watched SDS podcast, one of our favorite podcasts to watch, tune into, but they have a pretty big Arsenal fan base, that podcast, and them along with a lot of just Arsenal social media were saying just wait till second leg. First leg we didn't have that man Thomas Partey, would have been a difference maker. He was a difference maker this game. First goal, poor header right into danger. I mean, great strike by Ruiz, like we said, but he heads it right into danger. And then that Hakimi goal today, he kind of dilly dallies on the ball, pocketed, and then Dembele the assist to Hakimi. So he was definitely a difference maker, Arsenal fans. I'll give you that.
Do you think, this Arsenal Champions League run, um, are you impressed by it? Or
Nah,
do you think there's like,
fraud,
okay,
bro.
I was
I,
thinking the same.
I think if we had a rank, I think PSG had the toughest. Um, is it question marks that I know you were trying to bring it up a few podcasts ago, but is it Premier League week? They literally beat the Premier League.
Oh yeah, coming into this game, they had more wins than the bottom three, uh, Ipswich, Southampton, and whoever the third team is,
Leicester. Mm-hmm.
Leicester. PSG had 5 wins coming into this game against Premier League teams 2025. Those 3 teams only had 3, I think. 4.
Yeah, they literally just beat the Premier League.
Yeah.
This run. So if I had to rank, PSG I think had toughest run, and then Inter, and then Barca, and then Arsenal. Arsenal's first game was literally just training ground versus PSV.
Yeah, and I felt like the betting markets too. Like looking at that, they had Arsenal as like one of the stronger teams.
And Real Madrid, they got reputation, but they're struggling side this year.
Yeah, I feel like that kind of threw off a lot of people in terms of like, oh, Arsenal has done amazing and stuff like that. Like they beat Real Madrid, like or not beat, they smacked. I mean, yeah, they did smack Real Madrid, but like, dude, it's this Real Madrid team is very different from Real Madrid historically.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like that just kind of like threw off the optics of Arsenal. But I was curious because I don't know if I was feeling like I was the only one that like I don't know if this Arsenal run's that impressive.
Yeah, I'm not. Now, a follow up question. I know it's a Champions League roundup, but looking at Premier League table, because I just want to look at the team that finishes fifth for that Champions League spot. But when I was looking at the table, I was like, "Yo, City's only a few points behind Arsenal for the second spot." So I was like, "If City gets second, like, would this
Oh,
be a
really?
failure?"
Are
Yeah,
they really second?
City's 3 points
3 points
behind.
behind. Oh,
So I'm like,
wow.
if Arsenal dropped to third with no trophies, is this a like a dock to Arteta?
Uh, I think so. I'll be honest. I think this Arteta project is over. I really don't want to be the pessimistic guy, but we've been talking about this for a while about this Arteta project and like how much longer should he get, but I think his time should be done. I know Arsenal fans get heated about this because they love them some Arteta for some reason, but like honestly, like their play is not fun to watch at all. Like they don't play beautiful soccer.
Last year they were entertaining a little bit more, but this year
Yeah,
it's a
slightly.
hard watch.
Like it's sad when your most dangerous ways of attacking a team is throw-ins and a corner kick. Like you're cheering for corner kicks like you're winning PKs. Like that's sad. It's just not.
It's not baller league. Like, come on now.
It's just not beautiful soccer. Like it just does. And like Arteta's recruitment too, I think has been really poor. You look at the bench today. I mean, his in-game management is also quite poor. Because the past seasons when he finished second, like yeah, you would think like, oh, they were great, like they improved each year, but like they got really lucky in some of those games where I remember Reece Nelson scored bangers at the end, stoppage time. Um, but like his in-game management isn't great. Like today, you had 30 minutes left, you were chasing goals. Like you bring on Ben White, like seriously, that's your solution, Ben White. You have Ethan Inweri on the bench, and he
Oh
came on
yeah,
what 1 minute did he come on today?
nah.
Like
It
this
was
kid,
yeah. He didn't come on.
um, and he's good. Like the months that Saka and Odegaard were out, I mean, what do top managers do? You find a gem like Ethan, you're going to mold him. You had months where Odegaard and Saka were out, where you could have developed him, and you can see when he was playing in the Premier League, FA Cup, like you could see there's a player in him. Odegaard was having stinkers at times, both these legs. It would have been a great time to bring in Ethan, and you're not giving him any minutes. Like that's just terrible management. I mean, look at what PSG have done with their young players, even Barca. Like Arteta, his recruitment. Your answer is Sterling. Like that's on your bench. Like that's disgusting recruiting. Like that's just terrible. Um,
Yeah, that's a good point because I didn't see him come on, so I just assumed they I didn't really look at the bench, so I thought it just they didn't get him like registered or something. But yeah, that's criminal. He didn't come on.
Yeah, I don't know what's wrong with Arsenal fans too. Like maybe they just like to stay upset and cry and like feel like they're the victim every time because it's, I guess, easier than like actually trying to win a title for real and like being for real. Because Arteta's just not the guy. I feel like because like it's just crazy because years ago your best manager of all time is Wenger, right? Like, and do you remember at the end of his stint, like fans were calling for his head and saying like Wenger out and stuff? Like,
Mhm.
where's that type of like treatment for Arteta? Because Arteta's like recruitment is just mind boggling. Like, it's not like they're cash strapped like Manchester has been. Um, like he's had the freedom to kind of recruit however he wants, and it's just crazy.
Yeah, and
Like
to your
he,
point again with Wenger, like he was known for giving the youngsters opportunities and kind of actually would rely on them, like Theo Walcott, Jack Wilshere, getting him like youngest. I think he's like the youngest Arsenal player to like make a appearance or something like that. Like he would rely on youngsters. They because youngsters they don't have anything to lose. When they do play, like they want to impress the manager. Um,
yeah,
so yeah, I mean
and it's not like,
Odegaard has another stinker just ghosting around. So
Ethan Ware is like just a nobody. Like he's played in big games with the big boys. Like, and
made
he's
impact. Yeah,
made impact. Yeah, exactly. Um, so I don't. That's just my opinion. I was getting kind of heated after the words because I was seeing like Arsenal fans saying like just tweeting like, "Oh, we've had like great season and stuff like that," and like positive side, and like it sounds like it just feels like they're happy with Arteta. But I'm like, do y'all want to be like serial losers? Like, what is this?
yeah. I mean, I guess from where they've started, when he first took over the job for Arsenal, like they've come a long way, but I think I don't know, I think there might be a cap with Arteta because to your
Mm-hmm.
point, I think tactically he is maybe a good manager, but man management wise, like in game management, um, like even bringing on Trossard, that was such a late sub. I think he had to come on a lot earlier. Um, and
Yeah,
to
he
your
made.
point, like it had to be more than just Trossard. Like one year he had to come on.
Yeah, but it goes to like recruitment. Like the only players he had to look were Trossard, Ethan, and Sterling. Um, and like as a manager, like when would like the momentum have shifted in that second half? Probably after that penalty save, right? Like, why
Oh
not
yeah.
bring on? Like, you have the momentum at that point, and he
Hmm.
just didn't do anything.
Yeah. Um, and then on the flip side for PSG, uh, scary hours now because if they win Champions League, I think Dembele's got a strong case. Best player in the world. Um, it was so Inter game gave me chills, but this game gave me chills when Dembele was warming up. When he got up to warm up, the whole stadium just like stood up and was serenading and clapping for him. Um, it was just like goosebumps because I felt so bad for him at Barca because a lot had to do with his injuries, where they absolutely despised him. But like PSG, um, complete polar opposite. Like they just love that man.
Oh yeah, and I mean, we just talked about Arteta, but like, what do you think about Luis Enrique and like what he's done with PSG? And like,
Yeah,
I guess you'd like talk through his career because I feel like he had a tough time with a lot of fans, not just at PSG but Spain.
yeah. I think he had a tough time at Spain because I don't know if you remember, but he had his daughter who passed away from like cancer at 9 years old. and that was while he was having that national team manager job. So I mean, I mean, these are all humans at the end of the day. So things that happen in their life will affect them, and I think that kind of took a big toll on them. Um, and so I feel like that was a bit unfair for him, because I think manager wise, he's pretty elite. Um, I think Mbappe was really holding them back, just because he's a bit selfish. Not bit. He's quite a selfish player. Whereas Enrique really values team aspect.
And it's crazy that people were like calling for his head and like questioning for like not fighting to keep Mbappe, and it was like okay to let him go. But like I guess no one else saw like the bigger picture like he did.
Yeah, I think he was happy for Mbappe to be like one of the first ones to be out the door too.
Do you think PSG, if they win the finals, that Mbappe's career is going to be taking a hit?
Yeah, big time, big time. I think you asked me one of the podcasts if like his legendary status at PSG kind of like goes away, or it's something to that effect. But like, I think his PSG legacy will be pretty much wiped away if they win the Champions League.
Mm. And I guess like speaking of Madrid, this coming weekend we have the El Clasico, but you know Barca, they've won the Copa del Rey, but do you think now they're out of Champions League, and if they lose the league, that the season all of a sudden goes from like A plus to possibly like a C or D?
If they lose the league, yeah, I
Yeah.
think if they lose the La Liga, that would take a hit. But I thought they could still, if they win the league, couldn't they win like the treble still?
No, they can win the double. Or yeah, if they win the no,
Because
they
they won
can
the
win
super.
the
I thought they won the Super Copa, but I guess is that like
Oh
Community
yeah,
Shield?
yeah, yeah. So they could still win the treble if they win the league. You're right.
Gotcha. Okay, and I was just confused because I know you like this streamer Faisal,
Mhm.
who's a Real Madrid fan, and he was basically hate watching the Barca Inter game because he kept saying he didn't want Barca to win the treble, because if they won Champions League in the league, they'd win treble. But I was like, I thought they won the Super Copa. I don't know if that counts towards it or something. I guess,
Yeah.
but yeah, I think Barca need to make sure they still wrap up the league and not make sure this doesn't affect them because I think their season right now, if they win the La Liga as well, their season will still be like A plus. But if they lose La Liga in this fashion, I think it will go down to a B.
Mm.
You?
Yeah, I think it goes from an A plus to, even if they lose the league, probably like a B minus. Especially considering this is Hansi Flick's first season. I think they've made huge improvements. So um, I don't think it would be like a complete failure of a season just with the improvements they've made. And there's like definitely a future with this team.
Let's do a little bit of grading for the other ones. So, what would you grade Arsenal if they end up finishing third? If let's say City do take over second.
Yeah, I think this is a C minus or a D. I would consider this a D. Um, Main reason is because I guess they made it to the semis, but a D because the route to the semis was really easy. Um, and I think also just the league, you finished second, but like you were not close to Liverpool at all. And this was your year to win it when City were off of it. Liverpool, Slot's first season. This was your year to win it couldn't do it. So I think they just got worse. Honestly, their play style.
Yeah. I think right now, if Arsenal finished second, I would agree. C, maybe just because they made semis, but I think if they do fall to third place, then it might be a D, push into a F.
Yeah, probably an F for me. It might
Yeah.
already be an F if it's second for me.
PSG, if they win the Champions League, they'll win the treble. But scenario for them, you think, what type of season you think if they don't win Champions League?
If they don't, I think it's still. I think it's A still, just for how well they've played, and especially like improved throughout the season. I think some players have really stepped up too. So there's a bright future with this squad too, just how young they are.
Yeah, I would agree. And the domestic league, they demolished. Now Inter, what would you say if they finish second and they don't win Champions League? What's their grade? I'd still give it like a B, just because like
Yeah,
their squad is just like such an aging squad. Like it's a lot of managers I feel like would have a tough time um, having this type of season with this squad.
yeah, I completely agree. It's just not expected for them to do this well, so I think you still give them a B, just outperforming their expectation.
Yeah.
But yeah, just wanted to quickly also just give a quick shout out to Variascalia. When we compare him to Rafinha, I think it's just like black and white, like they're opposites because Rafinha GA machine, right? Like, but it's not necessarily he's the best player, like this absolute like impact guy, like he gets on the score sheet, but Vicha is like the opposite. I feel like he didn't get on the score sheet today. Like he's not really a GA machine, but he's a baller. Like he just makes an impact every single game, and he just leaves his fingerprints, usually on the good. So I just wanted to kind of give him a shout out, just how night and day comparison him and Rafinha are. Like Rafinha got the goal this leg, but Vicha was a much better player, even though he didn't get on the score sheet.
Yeah, completely agree there. And I think that's the thing with a lot of people is they rely so heavily on just looking at the stat sheet, which doesn't tell you the full story. But
Yeah, I think I think we'll have to do another episode where we just break down the two teams, Inter and PSG, before the finals, and
I
do an
like that.
episode just on that prediction, and how a prediction for exactly how we think the game will play out. And
I like
then
that.
maybe we can try to live stream the game too.
Yeah. We might have to do like since you kind of predicted PSG and I did Inter, might have to do like you'd be like a Luis Enrique and I'd be Inzaghi, kind of get in their minds and predict the lineups and
Ooh.
all that.
Yeah, I'm down for that.
Yeah, but we'll definitely have to figure out a way to kind of live stream the game together too.
But before you end it, one crazy stat is no matter who wins the finals, we'll have the first Asian footballer to win it for the first time since 2008. Do you remember who it was?
Since 2008. Uh, 2008.
Come on, Narf. I'll be disappointed.
Oh, Park Three Lungs.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Oh, I was thinking of when you said that question. I was thinking, no matter who wins, a Asian player is gonna end up winning. Like either is there an Asian player on Inter?
Yeah. Taremi.
He's Asian. I thought he was Iranian.
Yeah, that's in Asia, bro.
Wow. Oh wow. Yeah. I deserve a.
Howler.
That's a.
Howler.
No wonder I was struggling at that question because I was like, who on Inter is Asian? Jeez,
Oh, I see. Okay.
that's
I was gonna be
embarrassing.
disappointed if you didn't get Jisung Park. I was like, this man has this is a layup.
Yeah, that is embarrassing, man. All right, listeners. Yeah, we're gonna have to end it on that before I embarrass myself further.
Ay.
But thank you. Oh, also, tomorrow's the second legs of Europa, so United versus Tottenham final. Here we go. But thank you all. That's been it for this week. Thanks for hanging with us. We'll be back next time to talk more footy, spotlight game, changing super subs, and drop even more takes hotter than a derby day. And you better believe we'll be diving into that massive Inter versus PSG final, like we mentioned, one for the ages. If you've enjoyed the chat, make sure to subscribe, drop us a rating, share the pod with your friends and family. But until then, keep the football chatter alive, and we'll catch you next time. Peace.
Peace.